Hello and welcome to the Tour Report from Secret Golf, the week after the Masters. Now, for many, you can see that as a bit of a come down week, but well, first of all, we have an elevated event to talk about. So we've got huge golf, but also Mr. Elkington is in the Emerald Isle right now. You have taken a trip across the pond and you're in glorious Ireland.
Last week, Augusta. This week, Adare Manor. I mean, who's got it better than me?
Oh, and we last saw, look at you with the, we last saw Adare Manor for the JP McManus Pro-Am. There's always so much talk around that event and all the big names play it right before the Scottish Open and then the Open Championship. And you are there in the lap of luxury this week for a wedding.
Yeah, let me tell you about, yes, I am here for a wedding. My daughter's in it. It's a neighbor of mine in Houston, a daughter, best friend of my daughter, getting married on the weekend to another Houston boy, but they all have Irish roots, so they thought they'll come back to the motherland and do it. Diane, Adare Manor, 2027 Ryder Cup, original manor house. You may have saw the pictures I sent you last night from the castle. They joined that with a hotel. We're off to the side in some cottages, 4-bedroom cottages right on the golf course. We did falconry yesterday. We met a bunch of owls and falcons and hawks, and we saw one little bitty owl that was this big named Tiny. We had the best day yesterday, but not to be outdone, we went to Lahinch today, Diane, one of the greatest courses in the history of Ireland. My son Sam had set it up through the golf show. I was just looking through the yardage book here, Diane. Just listen to a couple of the names of the holes. If you don't think Ireland or Scotland get it right, number 4 is a par 5 named Klondike. Mm-hmm. The 5th hole is a blind par 3 named Dell. Paradise is the 6th. Blind Hooky is number 7. I mean, Diane, they really know what they're doing over here. It was terrible weather. I didn't play today because I had some wedding duties, but my son Sam shot a 71 at Lahinch, had an eagle and 3 birdies and birdied the last hole. A lot of the members were very happy that we were coming out there, met the captain, met the pro. I saw a beautiful picture on the right as you come in the locker room. Jon Rahm, Diane, had won the 2019, I think the Irish Open at Lahinch, 16 under par, had the same shirt on as he had yesterday. And I know you want to talk to me about that, but Jon Rahm, Diane, let's face it, he's big everywhere.
Well, you picked him to win the Masters, and you were very modest on Twitter and said it was hardly an out there pick, but he hadn't been in. We hadn't seen the form that we'd seen from him at the start of the year. He'd missed a cut at the Players, a lot of frustration. And we'd even said that, Scheffler was the one on the rise. It seemed like it was going to be a fantastic week for Rory heading into things. Out of the big 3, Rahm was the one that we kind of knocked down a little bit. But you held on, picked him as your favourite and Brooks Koepka as your one to watch. You got first and runner-up.
Well, I was talking to a bunch of Irish people today, Diane, as you can imagine. They were all talking about the Masters, and they all said the same exact thing about Jon Rahm, and it's the same reason I picked him. Jon Rahm tries so hard, and he's so skilled. He's such a competitor. What is his talent? Is it 10% talent and 90% just guts and competition and just tries hard? I don't know if those are the right numbers, but it's not far off, Diane. And then they were all talking about their homegrown hero, Rory McIlroy, who may or may not be the captain here in 27. Don't know. He'd probably still be playing. Could it be Shane Lowry? We were discussing that today. Rory, they feel like distracted. They still know that he has the talent and the ability to do it. He's definitely out of sorts, Diane. Already WD'd from Hilton Head. He must be, I don't know, fatigued, embarrassed, or what's going on with Rory McIlroy at the moment? He's just not himself at all.
It's a weird one because, again, we saw him miss the cut at the Players, had a terrible, terrible 2 days at the Players Championship. But then he, got it together. He fiddled about with the driver and the putter and played great and finished 3rd at the match play. in Austin. And I had said it on the show last week that I thought Rory was the most calm and collected heading into a Masters as we had seen him in a long, long time, probably in the 8 attempts prior to completing the career Grand Slam. You know, he said that he had great memories after holing out from the bunker on the 72nd hole last year, and he was coming back in, and maybe, you know, his tradition of starting poorly was going to be gone because of this lasting memory that he had, and it just went the complete opposite way. As you say, a WD this week in an elevated event, which he's been very vocal about the fact that the big players need to partake in these elevated events. So I don't know, there's a huge question mark now.
It feels like to me, Diane, I was sitting here talking, as you know, I'm sitting here in Adare Manor with a bunch of people want to talk to me about golf. I was at La Hinch today, a bunch of people want to talk to me about golf, and that's great. I love it. It seems to me, Diane, that half the golf industry is very uneasy about things, and Rory McIlroy definitely sits in that category. We're talking about, you know, 3 of the live guys finished in the top 5 yesterday. Phil Mickelson out of nowhere came out, and, you know, who could have predicted that? We saw Reed play well. He finished in the top 5. And, of course, Brooks Koepka maybe ran out of steam. He said that he just didn't play good yesterday. I read his quotes. But, you know, felt like Jon Rahm just sort of took over the tournament. I mean, to me, it felt like through 54 holes or maybe 45 holes, Diane, that there was no way that Brooks Koepka was not going to keep steamrolling his way along. Loose drive at number 1 on the last round, way left into the fairway. Might have shocked him because he would pull the 3-wood almost like Greg Norman did in 1996, first tee shot way into the 9th fairway. That's a shock when you tee off on a Sunday and you're playing your best golf and all of a sudden you hit one like 30 degrees off your side of your eye. It's a very shocking feeling. But Jon Rahm is a great champion. We know it was Seve's 66th birthday yesterday. You had texted me and told me before I left to come to Ireland that you said, wouldn't it be unreal if you won this thing elk with Rahm on Seve's birthday? I believe in all that stuff, and I know you do too, because you're so intertwined with children and babies and marriages and all these things. But what's in your bag this week? Because now we got to talk about something else. We got to go on to Hilton Head.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of storylines this week, actually, because, you know, this tournament has long been a player favorite, a fan favorite. They've always fallen the week after the Masters, but it's never really affected the field that much. They've always had a lot of guys who have gone from Augusta to Hilton Head, South Carolina. You know, it's not a long journey. It's a great part of the country to visit. And as I said, they love this tournament, the RBC Heritage. Jordan Spieth won last year. They go from winning the green jacket to the tartan jacket. I refuse to call it the plaid jacket. So Jordan Spieth's name obviously is going to be on the tip of a lot of people's tongues this week. You know, all the big guys are playing. We talk about that Rory WD and the big announcement from Will Zalatoris after he withdrew from the Masters. He's had surgery and he's going to be out for the rest of the season. So really unfortunate for him. Just horrible timing, but also, you know, get it fixed, and hopefully he's going to have many, many healthy years of playing ahead of him.
Yeah, and you know, when I think about Hilton Head, I heard Jordan Spieth's interview that he was exhausted from playing 8 out of 10 weeks. He didn't play the Texas Open before the Masters, so he's not as tired as everyone else. And I think Jordan's going to be fine. And I'm going to talk more about him as we get into our picks.
Yeah.
But what do you need when you come to Hilton Head? Hilton Head is, as you said, is one of the most beautiful places on earth. You arrive at Hilton Head from Augusta, you are tired. You have great accommodations there. You've got the best views. The course is awesome. What does it require? It's a Pete Dye golf course. The most narrow course we play on the whole PGA Tour, Diane. Everyone used to say to me, Elk, you should play well at Hilton Head. And you know what? I never did. I don't know why. I'm just tired or whatever, or I couldn't hit the ball correctly, whatever. But basically what you need, Diane, is you got to be a straight hitter. You've got to be able to putt really well. This is a tournament where we see guys score the lowest amount of putts for 72 holes. When I was on tour for 30 years, there was the person who broke 100 putts for 72 holes was at Hilton Head. The second one was at Hilton Head. The third one was Hilton Head, and the fourth one. So they're very small. So you finish up chipping on and one putting. David Frost, all these guys finished up having these tremendously low. I'm talking about under 100 putts for 72 holes. I think Jordan Spieth was close last year. So I'm not going to get ahead of myself, but you do have to hit the ball straight at Hilton Head. It's very narrow, and you've got to chip and putt like a absolute demon to play well there.
And very narrow, but you've got those huge, big, old mossy oak trees lining the fairways as well. So if you are offline, you're in serious trouble. I mean, it's intimidating when you're standing on that tee. As you say, small greens. A lot of the guys are going to be clubbing down this week. That kind of second shot premium. So I'm really looking at, greens and reg, proximity, straight hitters this week. And I look back at Jordan's stats from last year. It was Jordan and Patrick Cantlay. Oh, we need to talk about Patrick Cantlay. He's the talk of the town right now for for playing horrendously slow on Sunday in the second to last group. I was just listening actually to the Gravy and the Sleaze on Sirius XM, and they had Smiley Kaufman on, and they were talking about it. And wow, he's getting absolutely hammered for his pace of play on Sunday.
Sometimes a player can pull the story out at Augusta. Patrick Cantlay, I was flying. I left when Rahm and Brooks got to the 11th tee. But then when I got to New York to fly over, the story, of course, was Jon Rahm. But the other story was Patrick Cantlay and how slow he was playing. And, Diane, all the years I've been on tour, 32 years on tour, there's only one guy that's ever been penalized 2 strokes for slow play, and it was an amateur at the Masters 6 years ago. No one else has been penalized. It's a very strange phenomenon how our tour works. If you fine guys for slow play, they won't speed up. But the moment you say that there's a 2-shot penalty in there, they'll speed up. Mm-hmm. So Patrick Cantlay, to me, is a very, deliberate player. But it sounds like it went across the line. I didn't get to see it. You tell me more, but it just got out of control. Is that right?
Yeah, well, I remember watching after Rahm and Koepka teed off, they were sitting on the second tee box for what seemed like ages. And we're like, oh my gosh, they're waiting already. Smiley Kaufman did make a great point, with the fact that they had to cram in so much golf on Sunday and the fact that the weather had been awful. They were maybe putting the tee times a little bit closer together than they would have before. So maybe he was at a slight disadvantage then, but oh my gosh, it was towards the end of the round on the 16th tee, it was like Brooks and Rahm were staring him down like, what is going on? It was when Victor Hovland, who was playing with him, played his shot before him. Like, come on, let's get it moving. But I think the word deliberate for Patrick Cantlay is a great adjective to use, because I think he's just going to do his thing. He seems like the type of guy that doesn't really care too much. He's just going to go about his business.
He doesn't waggle the club. He waggles with his feet. There's a couple of other guys that have done that. Jose Maria Olazabal, they didn't wag the club. He waggled with his feet. You notice Patrick Cantlay. Seve Ballesteros did not waggle the club. He did his waggle with his feet. When he gets over the putt, Patrick Cantlay sets up with his putter, and then he waggles his feet a certain distance, and then he comes back the other way. And I know what he's doing. He's feeling his feet this way. Is it this much right to left? No, it's not that much. I'm going to come back a little. It's this much right to left. And he goes back and forth with this very meticulous routine until his brain says, go. Yeah. It sounds like the go button got paused on that for a little bit. But anyway, enough about Patrick Cantlay. I'm a little concerned about Will Zalatoris. Mm-hmm. Microdiscectomy means that there was a floating piece somewhere in the spinal column. Micro meaning very small, went in, maybe extracted that. I don't know if they had to secure his spine to be more stable than it is. Hopefully it was just a little piece that was out, or a bulging disc. They might have been able to fix it and sew it back up. But Diane, we, as golfers on tour players, we know a lot about backs, just mm-hmm. intuitively, because that's the thing that has trouble for us. Mm-hmm. And I'm 60 years old now. I have to take care of myself because I've had so many millions of shots on my back. I've had a microdiscectomy, lost the feeling of my left quad muscle. Went to the doctor and said, how big a problem is this? Is it, because normally we would find out if it's a 1 week or a 2 week or a month problem. He said, Elk, if we don't go in and fix your back today, you may lose the use of your left leg. So microdiscectomy or back problems are very, they're very important and they're critical, but doesn't mean anything for Will Zalatoris. I've read a lot today, Diane, about where they think he's done. He's not done. They can fix that. Medicine has changed in the back department. So I'm feeling very optimistic about Will Zalatoris.
Yeah. Here's hoping. Right, okay, well, RBC Heritage this week. Let's get into our picks. So we have an outright favourite each, a one to watch, and then a dark horse at 100 to 1 plus. I'm so mad because the guy that I really want to pick is 95 to 1. So I'm going to mention him later, and I have a backup. Or I'll give you two.
Okay, well, you go first.
Okay, well, I have my, I was really between two for my outright favourite this week. I was really looking at Victor Hovland, who had a fantastic Masters. He finished 7th in the end, but he played fantastic. It's Victor Hovland. He's just a huge name, a huge force on the tour, and he's playing great. I mean, just finished 3rd at the Players not long ago as well. So loved him, but I'm gonna stick with my initial pick, who was 26 roundabout there, 26 to 1 this week, of Cameron Young. Cameron Young is a big hitter, yes, right? So we know that he's going to be clubbing down a lot around Harbour Town Golf Links. Finished 7th.
When you say, can I ask you a question? When you say clubbing down, you're saying maybe lay up more off the tee.
Yeah,
is that what you mean? Play, not let the drive go, play more position.
Yes, exactly. So he's not going to be, but we know it better than anyone. The length is always an advantage now, isn't it? So he's maybe going to put the driver away a little bit more than he would playing a longer course, and he's going to have to play positionally. But 7th at the Masters, he hasn't won yet. He's like one of these names that it's just that debut win for him is coming. But this was the little bit of information that pushed me towards Cameron Young more than Hovland, is that we keep going back to the caddy thing and the fact that Paul Tesori is now caddying for him, who was Webb Simpson's longtime caddy. This is a Webb Simpson course. They have had so much success at this tournament before. Webb won it. 6 top 15 finishes with Paul on the bag. So he's going to bring, a wealth of knowledge and experience to Cameron Young, who actually doesn't need it. He finished 3rd at this tournament last year. So I think it's such a good price for Cameron Young. Great odds this week for a guy who's really close to getting his debut win on tour.
I agree with you. I would never say this about a caddy, and I'm the biggest caddy guy there is, but Paul Tesori is helping Cam Young. And I looked at it very closely last week because I was there. What is he doing for him? He's just making him clear, just like, what are you doing and what are we going to do here and where are we going? And it's just very specific, short burst of what are you trying to do here? And I can see the difference in Cam Young. They're going to do really well together. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's going to win. Cam Young is going to play on the tour for another 20 years, and he's going to be 10-plus winner on this tour. First one's going to be the toughest one for him because he doesn't have it, but he's been so close. He knows exactly what has to happen. Okay, on to my pick.
Okay.
I listened to Jordan Spieth's interview last week about how super tired he was, but he's not as tired as the other guys. So all day I thought about picking someone else other than Jordan, but I can't, Diane, because he showed me he showed me a 66 on Sunday at the Masters to finish. He finished 4th. Jordan Spieth has been off my board for like a month because he is in the trees every hole. He's missing a 3-footer after making 5 20-footers in a row. And then, Diane, last week he shoots a 66 on Sunday and finishes 4th. And I'm asking myself, am I just watching a guy that just is like Seve, where he's not that great off the tee? Should I be grinding the stats more than I should be? Should I be judging him more? So I went and looked through all the stats, Diane. Where has he been driving it for the last 7 weeks? Mm-hmm. Where's he been all these – he's getting better each week, and he's doing it. And he said he's tired, but I know he's not as tired as the other guys. Scheffler's there, Rahm's there. As soon as Jordan gets back there on Thursday, he's going to be fine. I'm picking Jordan this week because I think he's had enough close calls, enough disappointments, hit it in the water at the 16th hole at Innisbrook to lose at Tampa. Yeah. Had a late, you can't really count his finish at the Masters as being in contention, but he's been right there for like a month straight. So I'm all over Jordan Spieth this week.
Okay. I actually looked at his stats from last year, him and Cantlay, and tee to green, that he was just flying, but he didn't putt that great, but still got it done. And we know that Jordan is an elite putter, magician with some of these creative shots that he pulls off. Does he need the putter to be firing on all cylinders? I mean, Jordan's level of putting, when it's a little bit off, is still great compared to most. But yeah. Yeah,
Jordan is one of the most gifted competitors we've ever seen. Rahm is a different style of competitor than Jordan is. Jordan is more like Crenshaw and Seve, and we have to get used to that. He is going to be all over the place, and he still finishes up there all the time, and he's just that guy. And can't explain it, but that's his style. If Justin Thomas, for example, hit it where or Jon Rahm hit it where Jordan did off the tee, he'd finish, miss the cut. Mm-hmm. So yeah. Jordan is that guy.
I love that explanation. And I think maybe after he talked about the exhaustion, a lot of people are maybe going to not pick him this week. So it might improve his odds ever so slightly. But he's back as defending champion, and this course is set up for him. So Jordan Spieth is your favourite, and I am going with Cameron Young. Right, moving on to one to watch. Mine is going to come as no surprise, and one to be celebrated by you and where you are right now. But I'm going to take Shane Lowry as my one to watch. I'm sure you knew that was coming. I remember, I think I picked him last year.
I did. I felt it. And maybe the 2027 Ryder Cup captain at Adare Manor, possibly.
Yeah, could be. Well, I mean, if he's not captain, he's going to be there playing, isn't he? Maybe doing both. But Shane just finished top 20 at the Masters. When I saw his odds, I think the best I found him was at 37-1. He finished third here last year. I did pick him to win because I remember he was on this great run of like top 5 finish after top 5 finish. So third here last year, he finished third in 2019 and 9th in 2021. So he obviously likes this course. It suits his game. We know that. He's a brilliant ball striker. He's 4th right now on tour in total driving. And the approach stat, 100 to 125 yards. He's 3rd. He's actually top 5 in quite a few approach categories, which again, ball striking, we know that's the real strength of his game. He actually hasn't won on the PGA Tour since his Open victory in 2019. And I think there's a few weeks that are real opportunity weeks for Lowry. Never mind the elevated event status and the fact that everyone's playing this week. I think this is a fantastic course, great opportunity for him. And I love him as my one to watch.
I love Lowry as well. He was. We were talking about Lowry today because everyone wants to know who's going to be the Ryder Cup captain here in 2027, Diane. You watch Lowry at Hilton Head. You watch out for Lowry at the Honda Classic. Yeah. Those two. I'm going a little different route, Diane. I looked at the stats very hard. I'm thinking about who can raise up this week, who has a little bit of gas in the tank. I'm taking the 3rd ranked driver of the ball for accuracy on the PGA Tour. I'm going with Tom Kim. I think if I was going to say to you, Diane, where would Tom Kim get his 2nd win on the PGA Tour if I was just doing a trivial question? You would probably answer, oh, well, it could have to be at Hilton Head. He doesn't need all the distance. He's the straightest hitter on the tour, one of them. He's got the pizzazz to do it. Putt's good. Everything's everything's looking for me, Diane, at Tom Kim as having a great week. He's been playing good. He's just not been up in that limelight that he wants to be. And you know this as well as I do. When he does get in it, he's able to, he likes it.
Yeah, he's like a Minwoo Lee kind of guy in that sense, that a little bit of a show off, you know, kind of enjoys it. We saw that from Tom Kim at the President's Cup, where everyone fell in love with him. I'd picked him last week. You know, I'm a huge Tom Kim fan, so great pick. And, you know, yes, this course is made for him.
I think he's 40-something.
40 to 1, yeah, 40 to 1.
Yep.
Okay, right. I said I have two. I've got one that is a legit 100 to 1. And I've got another guy that I really wanted to pick, and I was so sad. I was actually happy to find that he was 95 to 1 because I thought he would be nowhere near that. And then, you know, we know his game. When I dug into this course history, he's like a fantastic pick for this week. I'll start with him, and then we'll get yours. JT Poston. Yeah, I know you were talking to him at Augusta, but yeah, Poston being 95 to 1 is absolutely insane this week. This is where Vegas have made another huge mistake, because two-time winner on the PGA Tour. We know that he's an amazing striker of the ball, you know, great iron stats for him all the time, you know, greens and reg, proximity, fantastic putter. He's had 3 top 10s this season already, finished T9 at the match play just a few weeks ago. But this is an amazing course for him, and he's played here 4 times, and 3 of them has finished within the top 10. So I was like, this is an absolute no-brainer pick at 95 to 1, JT Poston.
That's a great pick. Sam and I were on the driving range on Friday at the Masters, Diane, at 6:30 in the morning, because we went and put some chairs out for some friends of ours who were there, and we had some access, so we went out and put our chairs out on number 9. Went over to the driving range. We were at the driving range at 7 o'clock. There was Rahm, Poston, Bryson, Phil, all these guys on the range, and we sat right behind JT. And, you know, at Augusta, they have the driving range is like a course. They have fairways you can hit at and have greens. So you can actually see a player, you know, trying to hit their ball at a flag. Out of all those guys there, JT was hitting the ball the best. We happened to leave to go to the first tee, and JT, I ran into him, and I said to him, this was on Friday morning, I said, JT, there's no one out there hitting it better than you, mate. I mean, you're hitting the ball exactly where you look, and he goes, I'm feeling good, Elk. So made the cut that day, finished up having a decent Masters. Great to see him. But JT Poston, you're right, Diane, he's on the rise. I think he's on the rise. He's one of those guys that are such a good putter. He's almost the best putter on the whole PGA Tour when he gets going. Mm-hmm. All he's got to do is hit it halfway decent, and he's going to be right there.
Well, he had a pretty crappy first round at the Masters, really fought on the Friday to make the cut. It was Saturday in the end, but he finished 34th, and that's, you know, a very respectable finish around Augusta National. So, yes, JT. I have another guy at 100 to 1. Who's your dark horse this week, though?
Well, my dark horse, Diane, is no big surprise to you because you know his name, and I followed him. I went and watched Adam Scott play with Ryan Fox at Augusta on Wednesday. We walked 9 holes with those guys. I spent a fair bit of time talking to Steve Williams and Adam Scott. They came over and talked to me. Adam Scott was telling me he was playing great. He just can't get it going. But I wanted to go out and see Ryan Fox up close, Diane. He's the best player in the world that's not on our tour. And I was looking at our sheet today, and he's had 27, 16, 17, 19, like the last 4 or 5 weeks on tour. He's going to be on our tour. I got him at 110 to 1 this week, Diane. Are you kidding me? He hits the ball further than Adam Scott. I mean, it's a joke. I mean, I think he won 2 times last year in Europe. This guy is going to be a guy on our tour probably very soon. And I'm telling you here, right here on the tour report, get on this train before it leaves the station, so to speak.
110 to 1, yeah. Is his dad a famous cricketer? Yeah. Is his dad?
No, his father is one of the greatest rugby players of all time. Okay. Played on the All Blacks team. And Ryan Fox is a big man, very strong player, has a very distinct swing. He gets up high, his hands are high, and he comes down to the side, but extremely powerful. He's just a great player, and we don't know him yet, but we're introducing him to everybody here.
Okay, so 110 to 1 for Ryan Fox. I'm also going to give you Adam Hadwin at 100 to 1. And we've talked about him a lot on the show over the last few months, but it shows because he has been playing really well. He's got great numbers, 32nd in accuracy. That stat, we track the trends of that stat, and he's been in the top 30 in accuracy, you know, pretty much this whole entire year. But he's really green across the board. I mean, 49th greens in reg, which again is still a good green stat for him. He's been in the top 30, top 40 in putting average for a long, long time. He didn't play at the Masters, and I saw his wife put on Twitter a picture of him cleaning their rugs in their house. So
I saw the same thing. Yeah,
if there's any motivation to not be doing that next year, then may as well, you know, go out, get the win, and give yourself 51 weeks to look forward to it. So I loved Adam Hadwin at 100 to 1. I thought that was a great price for him this week.
And by the way, I don't buy into the I'm tired, I'm not going to play well. Those guys will rest next week. There's no way that anyone's just going to throw in the towel for 20 million. It's not going to happen. So I don't care what Jordan said on Sunday night. We've got a few more days yet to get them all refreshed. It's all going to be good.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a course that, well, he won at last year. You know, it's not like he has to put in the same level of preparation this week as he did maybe last week. You know, it's take it a little bit easy at the start of the week, especially if you're telling everyone you're exhausted, and then build up to it. So, yeah. I mean, I think the Jordan Spieth pick is great. And maybe a lot of people...
Final thought. I have a final question for you. What did you make of, you know, and this is not a loaded question, but the LIV players played well last week. What is your summary of that? I
think that it was... The great thing is that it was the Masters. So... It wasn't PGA Tour versus LIV. I think there was so much build up to that as soon as everyone got on site and everyone's on Augusta National and they're talking to each other, they're saying hi, they're doing their preparation, you forget because they're there to play in the Masters and they've all got one thing on their mind, and that was going out to win the green jacket. I think having Brooks up there was excellent. It couldn't have gone any better, knowing on Sunday we had 30 holes of Jon Rahm going head-to-head against Brooks, who was playing great heading into the final day on Sunday. Okay, didn't play his best stuff. There was glimmers of it. But then you have Phil, who made this unbelievable charge up the leaderboard on Sunday. And we saw a smile on his face, and he was finally happy and maybe a little bit more like the Phil of days gone by, because we've seen none of that lately. I think that the DP World Tour announcement with their arbitration coming out last week was kind of bad timing. I think that should have been delayed. Maybe don't tell everyone about it until the week after. It was the Masters. That's it. There's so much respect for the Masters that the LIV PGA Tour argument to me was irrelevant.
Yeah, and it seems like to me, Diane, that if you're in the majors and you're a LIV player, you've got a pretty good end of it. You're making a ton of money on LIV, and if you get into the majors, that's great. I'm over it. I'm not going to, I think the Masters wouldn't have been as good if those guys weren't in contention this week. Brooks Koepka played great. I didn't look at him as a LIV golfer. I looked at him as just, hey, can he get through this mental mountain that's trying to charge him down called Jon Rahm? I mean, I felt like for me, I had Koepka, I had Rahm, but I'm like, Koepka, can he do it? And he just got mowed down by a guy that was just superior mentally. I think. I mean, I'm just guessing, but I'm over all that stuff. I think we're going to see them together in the majors. Let's just go with what it is. LIV's not going away. Tour is fine. It's all good. Let's put them together as many times as we can.
And I agree with you. I loved seeing them all back together playing as the best players in the world. And it was just cool to watch Brooks Koepka play golf against Jon Rahm again. Like on Sunday, I was so fired up to watch it. I had missed following Brooks Koepka and Phil and the talent that they have, and it was on display at the greatest golf course in the world. I mean, it was an amazing week, and we're always a bit sad when it's over.
I agree.
Okay. All right then, well, that was our tour report this week for the RBC Heritage at Harbour Town Golf Links. Elk over and out from Ireland. Have an amazing time. Enjoy the wedding. Get more pictures on Twitter for us to have a look at everything that you're doing.
I will do.
The SG Tour Golf Gaming app, the place for you to compete and win cash on PGA Tour events. The SG Tour is a golf experience like no other, with games designed by golf professionals. You can play single-day games and tournament-long contests each week. It's easy to get involved. Join or create a game for you and your buddies. Pick 4 players and follow along with the action. And if you need some help with your picks, we've got you covered with our weekly handicapping show, The Tour Report, and exclusive content with our PGA Tour players. Join the fun and win money on the SG Tour, available in the App Store.